Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here with another update for the build. A lot of stuff has changed, a lot of stuff that we talked about we were going to change, and also just want to talk about how we're farming deep space and making that work. As you can see here, we're way past the dummy cap now, which stops at 5 trillion, but we can also go and test our damage by going and like hitting the dummy till 30 seconds or 20 seconds or 10 seconds, stopping our automation from firing, and then seeing how long it takes for it to fall off. And so if you attack for 30 seconds, for every 30 seconds past that point, that is another 5 trillion DPS. And you're looking at this number at the top here. So as long as this stays at 5 trillion, that means that you are still like calculating how much over the damage cap you are here. So this should go past a whole minute. But basically the build here has been going really good. We did have some good RNG that turned into some bad RNG that now has turned into some like interesting build decisions that don't necessarily think that you need to follow. But I'm just kind of like stalling here to see how long this takes here to fall off. And so should be any moment here. All right, so 116. So that is 76 seconds minus our 30 seconds. So it's 46 seconds extra. And then, so that is basically, there's a whole unit of 30 in there. So that's another 5 trillion. So 10 trillion. And that's about half of that. So that is about 12-ish trillion DPS right now, which is pretty good. But let's talk about some good RNG. So I was putting dreams on my rings and getting really frustrated. And then we hit Timid Curse. But then Timid Curse got followed by negative Tenacity Blessing, which I was pretty annoyed about. And I tried to sell this ring a whole bunch. It didn't sell. And so what I went and I did is I went out and I bought these particular Kismets. There are 2 of them. They make it so that when you have 2 of them active, your negative effect of your dreams turn into positive effects. So instead of this being +1 tenacity, -1 tenacity, it's now ++. Which is very nice. And then I went and I bought a ring that was for a completely different build, but it had tenacity, tenacity, negative tenacity. And so we recrafted half of the ring. So now this ring is giving us 4 tenacity blessings. So I effectively went from having like 8 tenacity blessings to 14, just from the, minuses getting flipped around here and not having this ring at all. So this ring is pretty solid. Pretty difficult to get a duplicate of this. You don't have to do this. I was just kind of in for a penny, in for a pound type of stuff. And yes, I probably do need to go and find a good negative on my staff as well. It's going to be kind of a pain in the butt. Getting a good dream on my weapon and getting good sequence on my weapon has been something that has been eluding me. And I might even go and, do some other fancy stuff with that, which we'll talk about later. But I want to talk specifically about deep space. So if you don't know, deep space is super duper difficult, but it's mostly difficult because in deep space, there are all of these modifiers that wreck your day. And the ones we really care about are slow. Slowy doesn't normally seem like this would be really bad, but this can pretty much make your character not move really at all. Very, very slow, feels bad. But I completely get around this from having immune to slow and weaken on my belt, which I think is very solid. And then I think that the only mods that you really need to reroll are when it says frosted, because this basically will freeze your character for a period of time and you won't be able to move and you're probably just going to die. So what I do is just reroll here and looking for stuff here. Like there are mods like Scorch or other things. You can kind of see a lot of these in Profound if you've been full juicing your regions. So if we go down here, lots of times the like final mod here will be a deep space mod. Like that's the kind of a mod that's annoying, yada, yada, yada. And so if you see Scorch, you need to be immune to Ignite. If you see Rot, you need to be immune to Wilt. If you see I forget what the trauma one is, but there's a trauma one as well. And so what we're doing is this slate here, this gives us damage, which is really nice, but we can adjust this out for any of our immunity slates and we're totally fine. So immune to Ignite for Scorch, immune to trauma for the trauma debuff, and then immune to Wilt for the Wilt debuff. And all of these, I just flip them between them and it's totally fine. I tried to get bonus of movement speed applied to cooldown recovery. That's just kind of like an extra nice thing. It might be difficult to find. There's a lot of other things you could do. You can get damage, you can get other stuff as well. Like negative affliction is also pretty nice. I just got this because I want to go fast, really. And yeah, that's pretty much where the build for that is right now. I did make some adjustments to my resistances, but we're getting pretty close to the damage cap, which means we really need to start thinking more about defenses. That's kind of like the next thing I'm working on, maybe trying to get like my hero memories a little bit better for block setup here. Also potentially looking at like replacing our prism here. This is like my damage prism. I have a speed prism as well, which looks like, I'll show you this. I think I talked about this in the last video, but the other prism I use for running maps has movement speed, more movement speed, and then strength. I don't need the resistance anymore. And so these nodes here give me 16% more movement speed. But if we replace this with like keen intellect, we would no longer have last stand. We'd lose all that damage. Keen intellect gives it back to us, but then we can put it in defensiveness, or maybe we just get enough damage that we don't even need to do that. And we can just click defensiveness instead. And this would send our survival stat kind of to the moon, because instead of having no block ratio, we have almost capped block ratio, which is very noticeably different. As even without having our block chance capped. The cap to block ratio is 60 normally, but there's that. Also, considering upgrading some boots, I did change the critical strike chance to affliction effect. I don't even know why I had crit on here. We're not really stacking crit at the moment. Other stuff we could potentially do, specifically talking about fates, is instead of going, you don't probably need to do these negative ones. I think that this was probably a little bit overkill. Instead, just going and doing Star Trail and like filling up an entire section here with just strength nodes, the little ones, do Star Trail in the mediums, and then get an undetermined fate that adds either more Star Trail or more strength nodes. Those can tend to be pretty expensive, but it's kind of like an end game setup. We're looking at like the final kind of stuff here to upgrade our character. Star Trail is this one here. So basically this makes it so 45% more effect or increased effect of all of the micro fates in that 1/3 slice. So these can be pretty impactful as well. But yeah, we're just kind of trying to figure out how to get a little bit more defenses. My hat's still really, really bad. My chest's still really, really bad. And yeah, just have more stuff to do. We were actually looking at the particular setup here on my skills. Like even my supports are still really bad. I could level these up. My activation medium is bad, so I get a lot of damage here. Potentially sacrifice damage other places. And I don't really think that you need to be at like super high DPS to kill Supreme Showdown 20. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully this video helps you out. Let's show you a little bit of gameplay in Deep Space. Just kind of like add some gameplay to this. I know people always complain when I don't do that. I'm kind of just doing Alk and Go. All right, so this is Dome. I don't want to do that. This is Frosted. Don't want to do that. So constantly slowed, and you're always at max slow. There's always these soul orbs that explode after you. So some of these are a little bit scary, and we're definitely a little squishy, but none of these are ones that we actually need to counter. So I can just go and put in my normal DPS slate in here. And these soul orb ones are kind of annoying because you kind of need to stay on the move nonstop. Anytime you kind of stop or backtrack, it will basically super punish you for doing that. And so these little purple things flying after you can really stink and hurt, especially if you walk into a wall like I just did there, or really anything else. Like you kind of have to just be very careful with them. And sometimes you can kind of tell that they start to pass you. And when they start to pass you, you need to like turn or just kind of like let them go, because those are going to explode in front of you. Like you see, these are kind of not following me anymore. Yeah, that's what basically when they get really scary. But yeah, there's a lot of like interesting Deep Space mods, I think, that can really give you a lot of hassle. But you know, with the right slates, we can get rid of a lot of them. As you can see, Deep Space maps not really all that scary. Yeah, that's, you know, pretty much the gameplay. Hopefully this video helped you out. We'll see you again soon, and come by the stream.